everyone. I'm going to be doing the gallery walk strategy, obviously. And I found this on the big list of class discussions that Dr. Grove posted. This is pretty self-explanatory if anybody's ever been to a museum or a gallery or any type of thing like that. But the general setup is that the teacher would have a bunch of stuff posted on the walls, and there would be a task for the students to complete in association with each of the items posted. This can be used in any content area. It's pretty easy to use for art considering it's a gallery walk, and galleries are usually associated with art galleries. But you could use it in any type of content area. So if you wanted to use it for math, you could have each kind of station on the wall or post on the wall is a math problem, and they have to solve the math problem or do something along those lines. If you wanted to do something for history, you could do a map of sorts, or like a reflection prompt. Same for English. You could do a short writing prompt or some kind of vocabulary. For world languages, you could also do vocabulary or specific translations for each post. And then science, you could do any kind of like molecular structure or anything on the periodic table or anything along those lines. That's about the extent of science knowledge that I have. So basically, again, it's just little stations posted all over the walls, and the students get up and they can either post it next to the thing that's posted on the wall. So if they have sticky notes, or if there's like a larger sheet of paper next to it and they can write something down next to it, or they can just have their own individual pieces of paper, just kind of like carrying it around and like walking and just kind of like writing stuff as they like go through all the stations. And then afterwards, everybody kind of comes together and the teacher leads a group discussion going through each of the stations, discussing what each of the students said, whether they agreed, disagree, if anybody had the same thing, etc., etc. How I would use it in an art class is I could use it in so many different ways, but a way that I remember watching in a video, I'm not sure if it was for this class or something last semester, but a teacher had each student hang their final projects on the wall, and each of the other students had 2 sticky notes in 2 different colors, and one was used for positive feedback, what they thought went well, what the artist did successfully, an aspect of it that they liked, an aspect that they would like to use in their future artwork. So they would write the positive feedback on one color, and the other color was used for also positive, but something that could be improved on, so kind of like constructive criticism, like nothing mean, but something that they think would be more successful if the artist did this, or this didn't really fit, or the proportions were off, or something that needs a little bit of improvement. And so the students would walk around to each of the pieces and they would write down on their sticky notes and they would stick it next to the next to each artwork. So it's 100% anonymous, so that you're not feeling like the students are specifically calling other students out or being attacked or like ruining friendships over artwork if that ever happens. So you don't have to worry about students being severely offended by like a specific other student or anything along those lines. Like, it's always a positive kind of environment. And then in the video, the teacher went around and like collected the sticky notes from the pieces and kind of read them off, and the students would have to discuss whether they agreed with the positive feedback or whether they disagreed or anything along those lines. And the artist would also reflect on any of the improvements, like, oh, okay, I see that you said that my proportions were off. I'll make sure to watch out for that next time, or I did that on purpose as a creative kind of license use kind of thing. So that's one of the ways that I would use it, but there's plenty of other ways you could use it in an art class, especially recognizing styles, recognizing elements and principles of art in famous artworks. matching artists to their paintings, to their time period. This could also work as like a timeline type of thing, kind of like a little bit of a tweak to it, but kind of have a gallery of a timeline or specific pieces, and then putting them in like number order, or like putting on a sticky note a year and like placing them like that. So there's a ton of ways that you could use this in any content area, I think, but I'm biased to art, of course. So there's, for the setup of the classroom, you have to make sure that there's a lot of space to walk around so that students aren't tripping over book bags or running into desks, or if the timer starts to run out and they're feeling kind of rushed, they're not pushing other kids into desks or anything along those lines. So having, whether it's your usual setup or you set it up specifically for this activity, having all of your desks kind of clustered in the middle, or having a very clear path so that wherever the walls are and wherever anything is hung up, there's plenty of room for kids to walk around, because you don't want anybody to get hurt, because sounds like a lot of paperwork, and that would just not be a great thing. It also improves like the time that kids would be able to complete the activity, so they're not worrying about, oh, like I can't fit past this student, like I don't want to push him out of the way, or it kind of just like creates a nice flow. There's a couple of pitfalls to this activity. I've done this in many of my classes in high school and middle school, and some students just kind of dilly-dally, and they're just like, oh, whatever, like, I don't really need to do this, I won't speak during class discussion, like, whatever, I'm not into it. But to kind of, like, fix that, the teacher could call on people randomly, or do some kind of, like, popsicle stick name thing, so that each student has an opportunity to speak up. If nobody's like volunteering, or you notice only a couple of students are volunteering, or one student is just like completely disengaged and like zoning off. Another pitfall could be that students could just copy other students. So if they like overhear somebody talking, or if they read something off of another sticky note, they can just copy that. But that's kind of a pitfall to just about anything that involves discussion, is people and students can just kind of agree and be like, oh, like I agree with this student, or I agree with what so-and-so said, like that's just my answer. So that's just kind of like a pitfall for anything that you do involving group activities. So there's not really a way to kind of avoid that, but to try and elicit a conversation about it, or a discussion, instead of just like, oh, I agree with them. Okay, why? Like, why do you agree with them? Like, what's your take on this subject or topic? Yeah, I really like the gallery walk. I did a lot of looking into it on the big list of class discussion stuff, and I really like it.